Mackie is husband to Marcia, the one that calls him his full name. Marcia Mackie, and he's also father of 4 boys. Mackie is a former foster parent and an adopting father of special needs children. Mackie, we can't wait. Come on.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. I'm not going to stay back here behind the table if you'll indulge me. Thank you for having me. I can think of no place I'd rather be than today. It feels very much like a family in here as I listen and I engaged in conversation with you at the beginning. When Brent Gilstrap called me and told me he wanted me to be here for karaoke month, I was so excited. So you can imagine my surprise when I got here, and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I want to talk to you a little bit about mental health today. And the vehicle I'm going to use to talk about that, I'm going to call Simple Dreams. So with mental health, there's a continuum that we can think about. There's mental illness, and if you have people in your life that struggle with mental illness, then you know that's one end of the continuum. And then as we move through wellness, then we have mental health and wellness. So I'm going to lean towards talking about mental health, but that's still with respect for the fact that we may have people in our lives that struggle with mental illness. I haven't spent very much time here in the room, but here's what I know. I know that somebody has a child that has special needs, and that creates a lot of difficulty in that child's life and in their marriage. I know that somebody has an adult child who has serious drug and alcohol problems. I know that someone was attacked and nearly murdered right here in North Springfield, and that kind of got in their head for a little while. So as we walk around and deal with each other, sometimes we say, hey, how you doing? But somebody told me recently, we should say, hey, how are you doing right now? Because everybody is at risk to wear a mask and to somewhat hide. We put on our best faces as we go out and we interact with people, because that's what humans do. So if you're sitting there right now going, how did he know? Okay, and you're feeling a little self-conscious about that, don't. Because here's a secret. Everybody wears a mask. Everybody wears a mask. And all humans are insecure about something. There's something that some of you are insecure about, and another person can't imagine that insecurity. But they have a different insecurity that you can't even imagine is a problem. So all of this is a context for me as I think about how can people find happiness in their life. And the way that I began to think about it, maybe 2 decades ago, because of my work with children, with traumatized children, is that here's what happened. I began to see children, and they could tell me 5 stories about how their life went badly. You know, they have a list of all the things that are wrong with them, okay? They will tell you, I'm too stupid. I'm too ugly. Other people have told them this, and so it's gotten inside of them. It doesn't matter. I'm never going to amount to anything. So as I started seeing that and watching that unfold with the kids I was working with, what I realized is that lots of adults are going around with voices inside of their head, giving them negative messages about their life, too. Those voices from the past, they come creeping in. And here's the thing. Literally, the past is gone. For some of you, those negative voices from your childhood, those actual people are no longer part of your world. You don't even see them at Thanksgiving reunions. They're gone. So the voice that's in your head whispering those things about I can't do are literally you. Right? So how do we combat that? And I was reading an article recently, I just saw another one yesterday. It says something like 40% of people are terribly distressed with the work that they have. 80% of people are not happy with the work that they do. Some of you supervise and oversee and run businesses, and you're doing great. And I was so pleased to hear it's like a family operation for 50 years. That's amazing. Not everybody has that, right? Because they're going to work and they're not enjoying it. And that's one problem. But the reason people aren't happy at work is because they're not happy. So as a part, I don't expect everyone to be a brain expert, but as a part of what I'm doing with children, working with trauma, been learning a lot about the brain, but it's not just me, it's the whole world, all right? For most of history, the way we learned about a brain was somebody got like a piece of metal through their brain. And then we said, hey, you lived. That's weird. What if we poked you in that hole? That's literally how we learned about brains. There's a man named Phineas Gage who was responsible for a lot. You've heard of Phineas Gage. He had a pipe pushed through his brain, and then he lived. And then they said, hey, that's interesting. That's how we learned. Till about 1985. And then the brain research starts going like this. It's pretty much a flat line through history. And it goes straight up. And since about 2010, we have fMRIs. We can actually put you in a machine now and tell you to think about something, and the computer can guess what you're thinking about. That's amazing technology. We're gonna learn about brains. I'm gonna tell you, you won't leave a brain expert. I'm gonna tell you one part of your brain. You probably don't even this. Most people don't even understand how their brain works, right? You probably understand how your car works better than you understand how your brain works. Do we have any mechanics? Don't help them, all right? How does a car work? How does a car work? Somebody tell me what you know. How does a car work?
My husband puts gas in it.
Your husband puts gas in it. That's how it works.
Push button go.
You don't know, but not only does he put gas in it so it will work, he puts in transmission fluid, brake fluid, blinker fluid, power steering fluid. He puts a lot of things in there.
I know about the blinker fluid.
You know?
No. He's a mechanic.
You know. Okay, so you know he puts left and right blinker
Yeah, they're
fluid.
separate.
They're
Yeah.
different jugs.
And
right?
you have to switch out the air in your tires.
You do. You have to rotate the air in the tires, right? Yes. So you understand somewhat how your car works, right? A little bit. But do you understand how your brain works? We have models for how the brain works, okay? I'm going to tell you a model. All models are useful, but they're not all accurate, okay? So a common understanding of how brain works is we have our executive brain, we have our mammal brain, and we have our survival, or some people say lizard brain. Just so you know, no matter who you're thinking of, they don't actually have lizard in their brain, okay? You don't have lizard DNA, and you don't have dog DNA in your mammal brain. But it's a useful model, okay? We spend most of our time thinking that we're using our thinking brain, right? But then you buy something at 11:30 at night on Amazon.com, and it comes 2 days later, and you're like, what was I thinking? But your survival brain going, we need that, right? I thought my wife had a shopping problem, but I actually realized she has a returning problem, right? She likes to buy stuff and then return it. You know what this is, right? Some of you know. You can buy stuff on Amazon, they ship it to you, you can take it back to Kohl's or whatever is it? You know. I see you saying, yeah, you can take it back. Your emotional brain thinks you need it, right? There's a wanting that you want. Here's the thing about your emotional brain, okay? It's like a dog, okay? So while I've been talking right now, some of you have been thinking you're using your thinking brain, but what you've actually been listening to is wah, 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 wah. And I sound like Charlie Brown's sister, or teacher, not sister. What's a sister sound like? I don't even know Charlie Brown's sister. I sound like Charlie Brown's teacher to your emotional brain. And I have worked really hard while I've been standing here not to do anything to activate your survival brain. Because you've been able to see that I don't have any weapons. And Scott, I don't have any magical cards appearing out of my wrist either. He has a magic card dispenser. If you ask him for his business card, it's like, whoosh, comes right out. I have nothing up my sleeve. I've kept my hands here so you can see them. I've talked in a hopefully soothing voice. Not so soothing that you're thinking about going to sleep. I see who you are, right? I've calmed that part of your brain. But there are things that can activate the survival part of your brain and then it put you in a little zone for a minute. Like when I told you about nearly getting murdered, somebody nearly getting murdered, or when I mentioned an adult child who had substance abuse problems, see? And so everybody was kind of looking around and hoping that nobody was looking at you and that they knew that you were the one that was suffering, but don't worry about it right now. Completely let go of that. Let go of it, because the person I was talking about was me. That's me today. And I got on my nice jacket, right? And I shaved, it's all smooth, it looks nice up here, right? Everybody is dealing with something, okay? Let me get to simple dreams, okay? This is what I think is true. Your brain, there's a part of your brain called the reticular activation system. Raise your hand if you already knew that part. All right, Brent works in my field. Reticular activation system. Everybody know what car you drove to get here? If you walked out the wrong side of the building and you saw a car that looked like your car, your brain would go, oh, there's our car. And then your brain would go, no, that one's green. Because you look for things that are familiar to you, okay? Anybody know that car that you want to be driving? It's probably a 2020 Challenger. Oh no, wait, that's me again. There's a car that you want to have, and when you drive around town, you go, hey, look, there's an orange one. And your wife goes, stop that or just go buy it, right? You look for things that your brain thinks you want, and you also avoid things that your brain thinks you don't want, okay? If we go walking out here, we go out to Busick Park, and we're walking, and there's this little crooked thing right there on the edge of the path. Some of you are gonna, you're gonna jump, and I am going to laugh at you, because it's a stick.
Oh, okay, I'm scared me.
Because you're scared of sticks, you will survive snakes, right? All of your ancestors jumped at snakes and sticks, and that's why they lived and passed their genes on to you. So there are things that your survival brain knows are important, and they stay very important. Right now, for some reason, you think I'm the most important thing in the room. But if a grizzly bear came in that door right now, it would take attention away from me. How annoying, right? Or if there was just the sound of a bear, some of you would look. And some of you right now going, is this guy crazy enough to have brought a bear? I didn't. How do you tell your brain what you want? How do you tell your brain what you want? I have three things I think you need to do. First, you need to conceive of what you want. Now, sometimes you think you know what you want, and it's that thing you bought at 11 o'clock at night from Amazon.com. But it isn't. That's not what you really want. Everybody right now, you're actually going to do my job for me. I want you to think of something, and before you get started and say it's $1 million, or it's $1 billion, or it's a yacht, maybe it could be a small yacht. It's not that. Those are dreams that every part of your brain tells you are most likely not to happen. In fact, it's more likely that a bear is going to walk in the back door right now than you're going to win the lottery. You might win the raffle if you bought a couple of tickets, right? But you're probably not going to win $1 billion, especially if you didn't buy a ticket, right? But there may be things that are possible, so I want you to think of something that you want in your life right now that would bring you joy, and it would take less than 1 year for you to get it. If you applied your time, your talent, and your treasure, you would get it in less than 1 year. Everybody think of something. If you have a piece of paper, write it down. If you've got something that you want to type it into your phone and send a message to yourself, do that. It's the only time I tell you to look at your phone. All right? Do that. Think of what that thing is. Could maybe only take 3 months. Might take up 2 weeks. Something you want that would bring you joy. Everything that's ever been thought of was conceived of by somebody. Electric lights, this microphone, suit jackets, shoes. Everything ever conceived of, or everything that exists in our world was thought of first. Now here's the thing, when you wrote that thing down, do you believe that you could get that thing? Do you believe you could have it? You thought of something, maybe it's elevated flower bed gardens, right? Maybe it's fix up that 56 Studebaker that's been over in that garage for a while. That might take a year. Whatever it is, can you get it? Uh-oh, somebody looked at someone. They're like, hey, you got that Studebaker? You got it? Oh my Lord. You know, that's what we call synchronicity, Roy. That's synchronicity. You know, because why would you have that? Okay. That's a thing. What's that?
Do you have it?
I don't have it.
Oh.
I don't have it. I actually have a 1991 V92 diesel pusher Prevost. It's what you call a bus. You know, it's a RV. And I get my hands dirty with diesel. Past 8 weeks, I'm taking the engine apart. So yeah, I do have a dream. I do. That's one of them, right? Actually, don't tell everybody else, but you are also my dream.
Oh.
All right? Okay, not just you. That was awkward. Everybody, you are my simple dream. My simple dream is to help connect people to their simple dreams. It's what I've been spending like a lot of the past 2 or 3 years doing, right? And I want to give that to you. I'm not saying why I'm giving it to you today. It's because Brent called me. And about, I don't know, it's probably 15 years ago now, I decided I was going to stop doing what I was doing there, and go someplace else. And I met with a lot of important people around Springfield, and one of them was Brent. And he brought me over to do a job. Those personal connections are what's most important to me. And when I get my bus, my wife's got different dreams. She wanted to go to Biltmore. You guys know the Biltmore? To Nashville. It's a great big place. We went there. It was beautiful. I want to go to my buddy from high school's house and park in a crummy little location just outside of town, so they'll come and have steaks with me for 2.5 hours when he gets off work. And that's okay. And I'll be there for a week, and I'll just read a book the rest of the time. That's me. I want to move towards people, right? It's okay. We have different ones, but they overlap pretty good. Can you conceive it? Can you believe it? Can you achieve it? Now, on the believe it part, some of you actually don't believe in your dream. That's not my fault. It's your responsibility. It's not your fault. Your brain works against you sometimes because you're constantly trying to work against risk. And the things that you want, those extra things, are risky. Your brain is not a thinking device. It's not a computer. It's a safety device. And most of the time, your brain is working to keep you safe from risk. So if you want to achieve this dream, you're going to actually have to work for it. Now, none of you are afraid of work. Like, I listen to everybody around the room. Nobody in here is afraid of work. In fact, some of you might like work just a little too much. You know who you are. You're feeling judged right now. Maggie's judging me. You work really hard, but do you work really hard for those simple dreams? What does it take? It takes time. That's the most expensive commodity you have, honestly. You probably already drift towards your natural talents. If you're able to work on a car, that may be a natural talent or maybe developed it. You have treasure. Most of you have enough treasure. We don't live here right now, us, in absolute deprivation. You have resources, okay? So that achieving it requires some habits, discipline, confidence. It requires you to move closer to enjoyment, to actually enjoying things. And here's the thing about your brain, reticular activation system, right? Your brain likes to win, right? Does anybody have anything you do? Do I have any pickleballs in here? Pickleballers? You know who you are. Oh, judged. They didn't raise their hand. Don't judge me. No, pickleball. People love playing pickleball. You know why? They like to win. And they like to be on the court. And sometimes that is the win. The relationship is the win, right? Your brain wants to win. You have to give it lessons about what's important. It knows your car is important to you because you store that memory in your reticular activation system. Okay? Can you tell your brain what's important to you in terms of your simple dreams? Can you give it some messages? Can you say, I'm going to get up early in the morning and write about that simple dream. I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to get the phone. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get the parts. Can you give your brain information so you can actually start to achieve that simple dream? What you may not realize is, if I open up this portal right here in the back, I can see through time. I can see back a year. And here's the problem for some of you. A year ago, your year ago self already knew the simple dream you just thought of a few minutes ago. Your year ago self knew that. So your today self doesn't have it because your year ago self didn't do anything to make it come true. And it wasn't that hard. So if we look through this other way to your future self, let me ask you to do this. Did everybody think of something simple? If you didn't, that's okay. You've had some time now to think of it. Does everybody have a simple dream? Nod your head, yes. Pat your head. Rub your elbow. Okay. Wow, this is as soon as you do it. High school kids always do it. Thank you, man. Yeah. He's like, I got all this. Got the moves. Now imagine a certain amount of time ahead from now. My birthday's July 27th. I don't mind being a part of your dream, okay? My birthday, or maybe someday that's important to you, okay? A certain day that anything that you just thought of now is true. How do you feel on that day? How do you feel that night? If whatever it was you were working for, you've been celebrating it all day. What's the emotion you feel? Go ahead and tell me. What is it, Mindy? What do you feel when it's true?
Financial freedom.
Excited?
Financial freedom.
Financial freedom? Excitement. I'm so excited. We got to the karaoke part. He was like, get to the karaoke. You're excited. You're happy. You're joyful. Here's the thing. Make your current self your future self's butler. Make your current self your future self executive assistant. What will you do every day to get it? Now here's the secret. I'm going to tell you the true secret of simple dreams. Okay? It's not actually about the simple dream. It's about the daily reward that you're working towards that simple dream, giving your brain a little dose of, yeah, buddy, we got this every single day. You're working towards it today. Okay, there was a guy that was working with, he was a nurse, and he told me he wanted to take his wife to the French Laundry. I was like, dude, that's a bad idea. Your wife doesn't like doing laundry at home. Don't go to France for that. That's horrible. But the French Laundry, if you don't know, is a very fancy restaurant, I guess, in California. It's like $1,000 a plate. Yeah, that's what he said. And he wanted to take his wife, so that's $2,000. And we're in Missouri, and he's got to get to California, so that's $2,000 more and just $1,000 extra because, expenses. $5,000. And he's sitting there drinking a $9 Starbucks coffee, right, with the whipped cream on top. And I know he got one for his wife, too, because he likes her. You know what that is? That's a math problem. Every day when you're drinking hospital coffee, not judging, I'm just saying it's not Starbucks, right? When you're drinking that coffee, and your brain's like, ugh. You know what else your brain's saying? I'm working for the French Laundry. I can't wait to see the look on my wife's face when I surprise her with that. It's gonna be amazing. Every day your brain's getting that reward. When you work towards your simple dream, you are teaching yourself to seek your own happiness. Okay? Seek your own happiness. Be a part of your future success. Okay. Mindy, where am I on time? 12:39. Okay. So here's the thing. I don't know what your simple dream is, and I don't want to pretend that it's entirely easy. Okay? So here in a minute, I'm gonna give you a chance. If you have a question about anything related to mental illness or mental health, I'd be happy to answer that. I wanted to talk to you about this part because this is what I think is really important. We spend a lot of time doing things that don't bring us happiness. For those of you that you have employees, as you're reflecting on this, and I see a lot of heads going, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get to that. Here's the other thing I want you to think about. You have people that work for you that are having the exact same experience that you're having right now. So you have to invite them into this because sometimes, this is my theory. There's a lot of things I like to do, okay? But if I had to do them all the time, they would become a job, right? I like to play cards, right? And I'll even get in a poker game. And I'll even take Brent's money. We do the high stakes too, whole $10, right? Yeah, that'll buy like 14 raffle tickets or something, right? I like playing poker, but if I had to play poker every day for 14 hours a day with a $142 average win per hour, that would become a job. Every job is at risk to become a job. You may or may not find your passion and your joy in your job. Your job pays the bills. This is not new to humans. Used to, we had to chase giant creatures to eat them. And they might try to eat us. Do you know 500 people a year are killed by hippopotamuses? You should be careful when you go in the parking lot. Your reticular activation system right now is going to be thinking about hippopotamuses when you get out there. And if you want to, you should just tell somebody, hippopotamus, and just watch. They will, they might not flinch. Because they don't expect a hippopotamus here, right? But some of you do jump when you see a possum, because you're afraid of them, right? So that little fear factor is always in your head. Don't be afraid of the things that are going to get in the way of you seeking your simple dreams. Don't be afraid of it. There will be barriers. I'm of torn minds about this on this next thing, okay? I don't know if you should tell people about your simple dreams. Depends on the people you surround yourself with. Right? Do you surround yourself with people you can trust, who have your best interest in heart? Do you? I don't know. I don't know who you're with. Can you not tell some people your simple dreams because they will subtly try to sabotage your simple dreams? I don't know. That's something I've been thinking about. I'm trying to work that one out. Maybe you guys will have some ideas about that. Okay? You have to have people you can trust with your dreams. I've been very fortunate in my life. I got a couple of friends in the room here, and I've had people that have supported me all along the way. I don't believe there is hardly any person who is a self-made success, right? People think that sometimes, but my whole life, when there were misfortunes potentially happening, something bad was about to happen, there was someone there, if you look back, and they saved me in some way or the other, right? Very first foster home I ever went into wasn't even a foster parent. It was a Sunday school teacher that already knew me. These relationships that you have right here together and the people that do care about you, those are the things that will get you through the hard times. Commit to your own simple dream. Make it real. Send yourself a message. Everybody think of that date. Put it on your calendar. You may not get it, okay? I had plans to have this Prevo bus back on the road by now. Who does mechanic work? It's always harder than you think it is, okay? Like you start breaking that engine apart, then you break the part that you bought, and you gotta wait for the part to come again. It takes longer than you think. But when you aim for the bullseye, I don't know if you guys know this, the bullseye, everybody thinks about that, right? That's the part you wanna hit. Do you know what they call the part right around the bullseye? The inner bull. And for those of you that hunt or bow hunt or even with guns, if you hit pretty close to the bullseye that you're aiming at, most of the time you're gonna be able to eat that day, right? You're gonna be able to eat. So aim for your dreams so that you can feed on those dreams. Your brain will appreciate it. You'll get the dopamine, which is the craving of the dream, and eventually you'll get the serotonin, which is the satisfaction, all right? Thank you for letting me be with you. I'm gonna take questions, but thank you for listening to Simple Dreams. Thank you. Okay, we just got time for one or two questions. If you have a couple questions, I will take them. And if you don't, I'm definitely gonna sing. This microphone is perfect. And now, the end is near.